This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 257.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash. 404 error. Page not found. Links aren't working. System is crashing. System is crashing. System is crashing.
Your old HTML website. Barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website. Better than it was before. Better. Stronger. Faster. We have the technology. The technology.
Why, hello everybody. This is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. There are none next week. Just local WordCamp meetups, I imagine. WordPress meetups. There are no WordCamps at all next weekend. Kind of a bummer. But February, March, April, moving past February, the first week in February, all looking pretty good. So I'm excited about that. All right, moving on. Segment 1 in the news. Pretty light week of news. One thing I wanted to mention was WordPress 5.1 Beta 2 was released last week with over 110 tickets that were closed since Beta 1 was released, which is amazing. They are making strides there, still pushing for a release of February 21st. And there's a note in the documentations there that if you want to help, you can. If you have translation skills, they would love your help there. That was one of the things that was called out. So, also in the news, my mastermind survey is going to end at the end of this month. I meant to mention it last week and the week before, totally forgot. So you can go to kitchensinkwp.com/mastermind survey. I'll put a link in the show notes if you want to take part of that survey. I'm trying to get something put together by Q2 of this year and some type of offering. Had some good feedback already, which is great. Just looking for a few more. Just take part of the survey if you want to know. I mean, I really enjoy masterminds. I just wrapped one up recently. It looks like we're going to probably reboot it, do it again, but I'm looking to do more to help you in the community, in WordPress, your business, etc. So, all right. Moving on, segment 2, the meat potatoes. This week, I want to talk about custom fields. And after I did outline this show, I thought to myself, haven't I talked about custom fields? And I did some digging. And as lo and behold, I did. I did find an episode back on episode 239 where I did like a 30,000-foot view of advanced custom fields. And I spoke on that episode about adding custom fields for an employee of the month implementation. And I don't recall exactly why. I think there was a potential need for that for somebody. I don't know. That's what happens. So many things come up every day to day, we forget. And I know I even want to, and I mentioned to dive back into custom fields and ACF. So that was a hypothetical, I think, purpose. But now I have a need for a personal reason to dive back into custom fields and possibly ACF. And thus, this episode now exists. So we'll talk about the why, the how, and the results, and something else at the end of this as well. The why I want to get back into this right now is due to listener feedback. I've been getting some feedback from you guys, from the listeners, and I wanted to add the functionality per the request. It's for the Kitchen Sink WP podcast website specifically, and that is over the past year or so, in regards to the tip and tool of the week, people want a way to see all of them in one page, or maybe paginated by the 50 or by 100, whatever it may be, and also possibly searchable. So, because currently I enter the tool and tip of the week in the content of each post. It's a standard blog post, and though you could pull out 101 top ones in my ebook if you sign up on the top of the webpage. You can get a free ebook, yada yada. Anyway, so that's why I want to pull out that piece, the tip and tool of the week, into its own custom area, custom field, if you will. So the how did I go about it? Well, I read more. I learned a whole bunch more in this last week or so, and to see what my options would be. And I don't want to go too deep on the episode because it is kind of technical, but that will lead to a deep dive at the end of this episode here, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so to start and to share with what I learned, let's first take a quick definition of custom fields, as not to be confused with custom post types. So per the codex, the WordPress codex, WordPress has the ability to allow post authors to assign custom fields to a post. Okay, pretty basic. This arbitrary extra information is known as metadata. This metadata can include bits of information such as mood, happy, current reading, a book, Cinderella, listening to, rock around the clock, and let's say the weather, hot and humid. So the reality is anything can be a custom field, and that's what's really cool. You can actually have that information appear on the front end of the site in one place or multiple places. Now, the technical hurdle, which I've kind of working through myself, was getting that information to appear on the front end. And how do we do that? Well, the standard WordPress answer is it depends. A couple of things take into consideration here. Your theme, your level of coding expertise, whether you want to use code or not, okay? So in testing this locally, and knowing I didn't want to use code if I didn't have to, and using the custom field in conjunction with my theme, Beaver Builder, I didn't want to use anything as an add-on just yet. I wanted to see what could WordPress core do for me. So I started with the standard custom field area that is in every part of WordPress install. So every WordPress install has custom field built into it. And if you don't see it in your post area, you need to go to the top of your page and click on screen options. And there's a little checkbox. And you check that, and then you'll see custom fields appear lowered on your page. You scroll down to that area, you create a custom field. For example, I enter the words tips and tools in the field. And then next to it, in the open area, would be, let's say, the text and link, and I can make it a link with an href wrapped around the text to that item. Simple enough, right? Okay, again, kind of technical here, but bear with me. The issue in the past or moving forward is now how do I get that to appear on the site? Because it's just a field of data. It's metadata, right? So I head over to the front end of my local implementation with Beaver Builder of KitchensinkWP website. I added a module. In this case, I used the heading module for my test. And instead of entering like an actual header, like, blog or news, I just entered, there's a button there. I click the plus button that Beaver Builder gives me. That plus button then gives me the ability to connect or insert something else, like a custom field. So I can say, I want to insert a custom field. And then the box appears and the word key is there. And that was confusing. I'm like, what's the key? Is it a serial number? I didn't know what the key was. Well, the key is what I called that custom field. In this case, it was tip and tool of the week. So tip underscore, it's long. It autofills in the underscores for me. And it kind of looks like a short code when I hit publish. It's almost like a short code with the brackets, custom underscore field, key equals, and then tip. So that's what I see once I hit publish. But then once I view the site on the front end, even locally, the formatting is gone. Like that those brackets are gone, and you see the actual content that should be there. The formatting itself, using the headline, the heading module from Beaver Builder, didn't look the same at all because it's an H2 tag or an H1 tag to start with, but that can be fixed with the appearance part of it. Okay. So again, I understand that you're like, whoa, this is kind of technical, Adam, but bear with me. I had the idea of doing this also with advanced custom fields with ACF, and I was always thinking to myself, ACF was really more about custom post types, and they're not necessarily, or pods and the way to implement that. Again, not necessary to do that. But I wanted to check out how to do this again with ACF, because actually I own the pro version of ACF. I forgot I even bought it a couple months back. It was on sale. I'm like, so I wanted to dive more into it, and I got busy and I forgot. And I'm really re-energized into going down this road. So I did the same thing with ACF. I dove into the docs, I looked and see how to do it, and I did it. And I like it better. The reason I like it better, it's a cleaner implementation in my opinion. Yeah, it gives you that meta box area instead of it just being the core WordPress, the way it looks. It's not ideal, in my opinion, again. So for the ACF test, I used a text editor module on the Beaver Builder side. Did the same thing, hit the plus button, connected it to once Beaver Builder sees that ACF is installed. So by the way, Advanced Custom Fields is a plugin. There's a free level and a paid level. The free level is what I tried it out with. It works just fine. There's no reason right now for you to have to invest any money into this whatsoever at the moment. So again, I used a text editor module, and the formatting was much closer and matched the post area of the content as well. So that was pretty cool. What I've yet to figure out at the moment of this recording, I kind of ran out of time, I want to get this recorded, was the ability to take the tip and tool of the week to appear on a single post page, like an archive page of like blog posts. My goal is to have it be a list of the episode number, the tip, and then both be independently linked. So the episode number, maybe the date would link to that episode, and then the tool and tip would go right to that tool and tip. But if you want to read the whole post, you could. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure that the formatting there, but my attempts to get this to work in the query in the loop kept resulting in a PHP error with an invalid argument issue. So I'm close. I know there's a way. I'm going to solve it, but it's progress. I got to break out that portion first and foremost. So now I can actually have it be a separate section. And I know once it's in its own field, I can then do something with it separately for purposes of displaying the data the way I want to display it. Okay. So lastly, like I said moments ago, I also did consider doing this with pods with a custom post type. And I knew that would be overkill because I don't want to have to enter a post and then enter a new custom post type that connected to that post. I wanted all piece of the post. So it makes much more sense. You have to trust me on this for right now, that doing it with a custom field or an advanced custom field is the way to go. Okay, so yes, it's technical, and I think it'll be a perfect segue for me into doing the deep dive videos, which I've been asked to do. Right, so I was looking, what do I do my first deep dive video on? I don't know. So this is going to be it. I'm going to work on this week, and I'm going to do a video, a screen share kind of thing. I mean, a screen capture, and I'm going to post that over on I have a YouTube channel for KitchensinkWP, but I will link to it on the website as well, and I'll put out a post regarding that, and stay tuned for that. So that is what the first video is going to be, maybe the second video. I might do a welcome video first and pin that to the top. I don't know. Anyway, all right. So if you have any needs for some custom field work in your content areas, definitely check out custom fields, and stay tuned for the deep dive. Might be 2 videos, actually. It might do one for the how I did it, and then the second one of getting it to work on a single post page. So all around the element of using Beaver Builder, that's what I use. So there you go. Hope that's helpful. Check it out. Custom fields are pretty darn cool and awesome. Advanced custom fields expand that to no end, apparently, and I totally forgot about that. So I am re-engaged and re-energized about diving into that and expanding the functionality of my own website. So there you go. All right, moving on. Segment 3, tip and tool of the week. All right, so this week, a little different, not an actual page or a tool, but it's a tip, I guess. It's a tip. I want to have you get involved more so in the WordPress community. Totally get involved. And it's because of the reason I mentioned this. I want to do a shout out and a sincerest thank you to Megan. Number 1, for listening to my show. For 2, for reaching out and offering me to help figure some things out with my lack of onboarding for my client side of the world. She literally met me at a local co-working space this past week. We hung out for about an hour and a half, did some co-working together. Well, then we did co-working together, but she just knew that I was having issues with the onboarding because I mentioned it on the show. And that just wouldn't be possible without having the connections that we do in the WordPress community. So there are a lot of changes in the community as of recent. Some good, some bad, but it takes a village. And remember to work from a place of abundance and not scarcity. And just wanted to mention that. So go over to make.wordpress.com, get involved online or in real life. Either way, without you guys, without the village, if you will, what we have isn't possible. So there you have it. That's my tip, is to get involved. Okay, I'm wrapping it up. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use the SpeakPipe functionality of the website. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon, kitchensinkwp.com/Patreon, Patreon. You can sponsor the show. There's a form on the website. Thanks so much for listening. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. See you next week. Bye-bye.